2, 1, lag. Take it over.
Okay, everyone, welcome to the straight knockout last 16 of the Players Pool Event Series, the Grand Final, Home Leisure Direct Grand Final. The draw has now been done. Straight knockout, still race to 11, and not though there was too many easy games to start with, but there's certainly no easy games from now in the last 16. I presume most of you would have seen the draw, but if you haven't, I'll just get it for you in a second. It doesn't get redrawn again now. It is just as is. Okay, so there you can see the left side is obviously the top half of the draw, and the right side the bottom. So obviously Phil v Appleton is probably the standout match for me of that. Hibbert v Boys, obviously the winner of those two matches play. Brennan, Adam Davies, and then the winner of that plays the winner of this match. I do think that the top half is the harder half than the bottom half. That's no disrespect to anybody, but that's the way I see it. I do think that the top half is a little bit more loaded. Having said that, obviously there's a lot of good players still in the bottom half. You've got Dunster against, it says McCarthy or Morris there. McCarthy did beat Morris, so it's Dunster against McCarthy, Cousins against Farnsworth, which again is the standout match. Toomey versus Gillespie. And Andrew Mackie, who is definitely the shock of this last 16, who's obviously had a fantastic tournament, plays Laking, and the draw is as is there. So one thing to note from there, what there is there is almost the dream final, if you like, of the players that have dominated this series, of Phil Harrison and Scott Gillespie, who've won 2 of the events each, and how fitting would that be if they were to play in the final? The main guy, the main commentator, who's as good as you'll hear, I'm going to have the pleasure of introducing him in for a change. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks very much, Gareth. Good morning. And, or good afternoon now, is it? No, it's still morning, just. All of the games now underway. There's 4 stream tables. Over on table 11, you can watch Gareth Hibbert against Carl Boys. Table 4, Mark Farnsworth against Tom Cousins. And table 3, Phil Harrison against Darren Appleton. What do you choose if you're sat at home watching one of those?
Yeah, I think there was 2 other matches that certainly were with a shout of getting on this stream table, and I think the reason why they weren't chose to be on this stream table were because both of those guys had sort of both played a match on the stream table. Obviously Appleton had just come off against Malin, so probably the Appleton Harrison game may have been the first choice, but look, there's let's be honest, there's not much to choose, and let's be honest, I think that the Farnsworth Cousins game is another one that could have been on the stream. So, but you can watch those if you want to. Prefer to watch any of those matches, you can tune into the other stream.
So Craig broke down in the middle of this break the ball he probably should have potted, and Mick really only able to play a little containing shot.
Yeah, and he didn't want his ball over the pocket, Mick. He's purposely not left it over the pocket. He's purposely just played it inside. But he has got a shot here to play the double and kick his other red out. And with these rules, there is nowhere to hide. So you do have to go for your finish.
Yeah, this is a tough one for Mick, though, isn't it?
It is because, well, certainly in this position he's in here. I think under any of the other rule sets, the yellow that's at the bottom of the line there, I think Mick would be covering the pocket with that and taking complete control. Well, I'm 100% certain Mick would be covering the pocket with that because that is the shot. At these rules, it isn't the shot. So I think you might see Mick having to attack, but they're certainly not easy.
First frames already on the board for Phil Harrison and for Gareth Hibbett, Mark Farnsworth and Rich Toomey. All have won their respective first frames. And Adam Davis has just put one on the board against Declan Brennan.
Yeah, Declan Brennan, favourite in that match, quite a heavy favourite, and you know, everyone's making a big song and dance about him, and I can sort of second that because I do think that he is going to do big things in the game. I did say the one thing that I think probably Declan is missing is the experience, but it's obviously something which will come. I think everything else is there. The fundamentals are there, the cue action's there, the break's there, the temperament's there. So I think he's got a big future, Declan. Mick sort of played the shot that I said there, but was clever in not covering the pocket. He knew over the pocket was no good to him, as I said, so he'd sort of just pushed it into the area. And there wouldn't be too many pool players cleverer on the table than Mick. Wouldn't be too many more intelligent than him. And he'll fully understand how to use these rules to his advantage. He's played in plenty of Chinese 8-ball events. So make no mistake about it, Mick Hill won't be making no mistakes on the rules. Craig Waddingham did make some mistakes on the rules in the stream match that I commentated on yesterday against Farnsworth. And in the interview he did admit that he didn't really know or understand the rules, and he just didn't see the shots. There may be situations in this match against Mick, especially when the balls are like this, where he needs to know the rules and know the shots to play to his advantage. What Craig has got is a lot of firepower. He's got a big break. He pots a lot of balls.
Has Mick really just thrown the gauntlet down there to Craig?
Mick,
and said,
what Mick's basically saying is, I don't want to go for this finish.
Yeah.
I don't like the way they are. The balls are in a scrappy position, and he's basically saying, and what they're trying to do in this instance is it's almost like an attacking sort of safety, where you're trying to develop your balls and in the same shot not to leave your opponent a shot on his. So it's like an attacking safety, which is good to watch, and in my opinion so much better to watch than people covering the pockets, because what he's trying to do here is be clever and develop his balls, and in the same time not to leave each other a shot at their balls, which is exactly what they're doing.
and quite noticeable that neither player, well, they're purposefully not covering bags.
No, because a ball over the pocket is no good to you.
Yeah, you're better off doing that and actually covering the path.
Yeah, yeah.
You saw in the background there, one of the sponsors has turned up and is watching on with interest. That was Jason Owen, the cue maker. And if you want to win a Jason Owen cue, go across to k8.com. There's Jason in the background with the polished head. I can say that because I've got one of those as well. He's a very, very skillful cue maker. And as I say, if you want to win a special edition Jason Owen cue worth £500, you can do so by opening an account with k8.com, and I think you just need to make a deposit. Move Mick's ball away from the cushion there.
That's a terrible shot from Craig. That ball that was on the rail there was obviously one of the problems for Mick, and Reds were favourite in this frame until he's just played that shot, and he's sort of allowed Mick a foothold back into this frame. And I think you're going to see Mick go for these. Mick played a clever little shot the shot before, and when he just bumped his yellow off the cushion, he ran down and just nudged the black. And the reason he nudged the black is because his yellow didn't pass into the middle. In nudging it, it does now pass into the middle, and it was only a little nudge, and a lot of people may have not seen it, but Mick purposely nudged it for that reason. And he's now left himself perfect on that ball that I said now goes into the middle to kick the black away.
Yep.
And I do think Mick is going to clear from here. I think he's going to pop this, nudge the black out, and then he's going to clear. So
he's
Craig,
just got that one ball at the top of the table, which doesn't go to either top corner. So he's going to have to give that a bit of attention.
Yeah, but Craig needs to be a little bit cleverer in these situations, especially against someone with the pool brain of Mick. He needs to, you know, you have got, I understand there's a shot clock, but you have got the 45 seconds plus your extension. And you can't just go playing lapsadaisy shots because he will get punished. Tried to attack his problem ball straight away, and he did plan it into the middle, but he'll take where that's finished. Just on the off angle, as you can see. So he may just have to stun this in, leave the cue ball where it is now, and then just take the long one, like that. And in doing so, what he could do is play a cannon into the red on the top of the black. As long as he doesn't hit it too hard, it's almost like a free go at it. I think he will try and cannon the red. You can see he's digging down with a bit of right-hand side. There you go. He's canning the red, and that's just nudged it away enough for him to be able to pop the black, and it was almost a free go at the pace he played it. What went from Mick being quite a heavy second favourite in that frame, as I said, he would be tactically quite astute, and he would know exactly what he's doing at these rules. And within a few shots, and a few careless shots of Craig, has to be said that he's nicked that first frame. I would say out of all of the pool players, maybe Mick's and my patterns would be very similar. I think we maybe see the game quite similar. So hopefully commentating on Mick, I don't ever remember commentating on him before, certainly not for a long time, and I do think it might be a little bit easier because I do think we might see the game very similarly. What's obviously going to be a factor in this match, as with all of the other matches really, is the break. Just a quick one on the rules there. Someone on the
Second frame, Craig Waddingham to break.
live chat has just asked why is covering out. I mentioned earlier that covering a pocket was no good. Someone's asked why is it no good. So basically, as long as you make contact with your own ball first, you can pot your opponent's ball and it's just loss of turn. So having a ball over the pocket is no use to you in most situations, because your opponent he has two options. He can either play the skill shot, or he can just make contact with his own ball, push his ball onto yours, and it's just loss of turn.
I guess it's one of those things, if it's early on in the frame, it's got no use to, but if it's quite late and there's only a couple of balls left on the table, it's probably much more of an advantage late in the frame.
He's playing the double here. Good shot. Very good shot. A lot of pressure on that. It was the first ball. Had he have missed it, it would have been an open table. And what he has done, he's not only potted the double, he's screwed across the table and landed on his awkward ball.
And that one shot just carves open a great chance to finish the frame.
It does, but the cue ball is a little bit awkward here. Might not look it, you might think, oh, there's 4 yellows in the middle of the table, why is it awkward? But he's just got a funny angle on all 4 of them. That's why he hasn't got down and potted anything yet. He may take this one into the bottom right corner, actually. He may take it long into the bottom right corner because he is a little bit funny on all of them.
Yeah. The natural path for the cue ball, if the one into the top corner, is going to cannon that yellow and leave it awkward, isn't it?
And he is playing the shot, I said. He is playing it into the corner.
It's good. It's good test of cueing early door as well. Put his hand up there.
Well, the reason he put his hand up is he didn't hit it into the middle of the pocket. And he felt as though he perhaps missed it on what he felt as though he perhaps shouldn't have gone in, shall we say. So it was just a bit of a courtesy to put his hand up. So, yeah, I understand why he did it. He just thought he caught the near knock on the way in and maybe on another table, certainly a worn table, he may not have gone in. Jamie Fay on the live chat. All right, Jamie.
So just
okay. Apologies. There's a few people on the stream. I didn't see that. The reason why they're saying he apologised is because they're saying that the yellows flicked the red on the way down.
Oh, did it? I didn't spot that either.
I didn't spot that either. So
I'm guessing we probably didn't capture that on a replay, did we? No, we didn't.
I didn't spot that either. But well, that explains him apologising. Then I thought it was just because maybe he didn't hit it clean. We are in a different commentary position. We're sort of in a room out the way, so we can't see the table live. We are only watching it off a monitor. Richard has asked me, will I play the series next year if it's held to these rules? If you know, I'm not going to, you know, get on about that. But if my schedule in China allows me to play, and it is these rules, then I will try and fit in and play next year. So we are just looking at a replay ourselves. Oh wow! Oh, I've just seen the replay. Yeah,
he's missed that by a mile, then, isn't he?
He missed the yellow by a mile, and it almost sort of hit the red quarter ball, and I'm amazed it's still gone in. We're just watching the replay of it now on a phone actually, and
Mick goes to break. 1 frame all, time running.
So lucky. So, oh, and that's a horrible kick from Mick, and look at the state of him. That's a nasty kick. And he hit the break well. That's unlucky. Tetline has asked, does anyone know where to find the Hill Potts World Final? It will be on YouTube. We actually played in 2 World Finals. One of them was in 2007, and the other one was in 2011, I think. I wouldn't be too good on the Stato stuff, but I think that's when it was. The first one was definitely 2007, because that's the one I won. I remember that one. Not bothered about talking about the other one. Mick won that, so we'll forget about that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2011.
But yeah, no, all jokes aside, I think both of those are on YouTube somewhere.
Another mistake here from Craig, and Probably really only left with a double.
Yeah, it's a terrible first shot there with ball in hand.
Good recovery.
But he doesn't mind a double. That's 2 really good doubles he's played now.
Now be looking to clear these 3 balls at the top of the table.
Yeah, and the ball that's over the right corner, the one that's actually over the pocket, is the perfect ball to drift down. Drift down from. He obviously didn't have the angle to get on the one on the rail off that, or he would have played it, because if he'd have been in this position now with only 2 balls left, this would have been perfect. So he's having to. Well, he's got options now. Depending on the angle he's got the options of playing either ball. I would personally play the one in bulk here and screw back.
Yeah. Yeah, screw straight back to pretty much where he is now. But, looks like he's choosing the other option.
Yeah,
either way,
there's
it's
nothing
a
wrong with
direct
this.
screw.
He's got a good angle, so he can screw back. There's nothing wrong with that, and he's played it really nice.
Just had to be aware of the middle bag there. It's always just something to be wary of. Shouldn't go near it, but we do see players do that now and again. That's nice. Just pinched it a bit there, didn't he, with a touch aside. Straighten the cue ball up a little.
Yeah, and yeah, good finish. And you know, look, Waddingham hits the ball nice. He's got a good cue action. He doesn't mess around. He gets on with it. Like I said, he's got a lot of firepower. I actually went to watch one of the money matches that he played against Ronan McCarthy, and it was probably one of, if not the best standard money match I think I've ever watched. Waddingham was way ahead. I don't know the exact scores because, like I say, I'm not too great with the stato, but it was something like 17-8 or 17-9. I'm sure there's people out there that might know the exact score, and Ronan ended up winning by a couple of frames, but it wasn't through Craig Waddingham's bad play. It was an unbelievable match. So I know that Craig Waddingham has got a lot of firepower. Ted Lyons said he must have been to watch one of those finals with me and Mick, and he said Potts was class in his mullet days. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, the mullet days, yeah. So, effectively an early break of serve. And it's only really a sort of consolidated break of serve if you then break and clear. Or you then win the next frame, either way.
So the other scores, Darren Appleton now 1-1 with Phil Harrison. Gareth Hibbett 2-2 with Carl Boys. Declan Brennan 2-1 against Adam Davis. Liam Dunster and Ronan McCarthy 1 each. That'll be a real gritty fight, won't it? 2 players who don't mind a tactical game. Be interesting to see how those 2 adapt to the rules when playing against each other. Mark Farnsworth 3-0 now against Tom Cousins. Scott Gillespie 2-1 up against Richard Toomey. And Andrew McKee 2-0 against Craig Lakin.
And Craig has hit the break sweet as a nut again. So I was going to say the only problem, it's not really a problem because the black goes into the right corner and he's got the perfect ball over this left middle to drop down onto that black. So the ball here we're trying to leave till last is the one that's over the left middle. And if you haven't got a ball that isn't in the perfect place to get position for the black sometimes, it is a good idea to kick balls and manoeuvre balls into position so they are, if the option is there. A lot of players don't see that, but sometimes you can pop balls and kick balls into a certain area to leave it as your last ball, which means the cue ball doesn't have to travel. This case he doesn't have to do that because, like I said, he has got that perfect ball there to just drop onto the black. So a few of the guys on the live chat if I knew someone would know the exact scores. Cole Bedford said the money match I was talking about there with Waddingham and Ronan. He's saying that Waddingham was 18-9 and 20-12 up, and Ronan ended up winning 30-28.
So we saw Craig come through that Hill game yesterday against Mark Farnsworth. So he knows how to win on this table. Does that kind of is that just going to get into his psyche a little bit? Just help him, give him that a little bit of added confidence?
No, it's a good point, and it definitely helps the fact that, for one, he's played a match on this table, because as I said before, it does play different to the other tables. It does play quicker, and it does play a little bit more slippy. And the other thing is, when you've had a close match, you're almost sort of hardened into the pressure, if that's the right word. You almost feel like you've felt the pressure, and especially when you've come through it. So you feel good, you feel sharp, you felt the pressure. He was behind in that match, which helps as well. So I think that definitely will stand Craig in good stead for this match, and if he wins the rest of the tournament. So that ball that I said would be his last ball, was his last ball. But because of the way he went about the finish, he had to pot it into the corner instead of the middle, but was still the same result. He got straight on the black.
And this is an impressive start from Craig Waddingham. He's now got a 2-frame lead at 3-1. Scott Gillespie also has a 3-1 lead over Richard Toomey. Don't forget, guys, this is the last chance today to win a Supreme winner pool table, as you see it in front of you. There is a poster that you will find on, well, there you go, it's right in front of you. That's what it looks like. You'll find it on the Players Pool Events page. All you need to do is like and share that post, and you'll be in with a chance to win that fantastic table delivered to your door, and that's courtesy of Supreme Pool, who are the headline sponsors for this series.
Fifth frame, Mick Hill to break, training 3 frames to 1, time ready.
Important frames now for Mick. 3-1 down. And this looks dry.
It is dry, and the reds are nice. And as I said before, Nick, you know, we use it to compare the terminology to like the tennis, where it's a break of serve, and obviously Craig broke Mick's serve, if you like, in that 3rd frame, and it's only like a consolidated break if you win the next frame, and he obviously did that, so he's effectively a break up now, and I think in a few minutes you might find that he's a couple of breaks up.
Yeah, I mean, it really is key, isn't it? I mean, it's key in tennis, it's key in darts, yeah. It's also key in pool.
And this is the level we're talking about. It really is key in pool, because the level that, you know, as is now with the top players, that it is as important as that. You know, you're supposed to pot a ball off your break, and if you do pot a ball off your break, you're supposed to clear.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously not so important when you're playing at a lower level. You're not going to get the same amount of breaking dishes. Players are going to get equal amounts of chances, but at this level, when the balls are opening like this, then he was just giving that a nervous look.
Has he gone too far? No, he's just okay.
Although there's a lot of traffic on the table, there's a fairly nice route around the table for the balls.
Yeah, there is. And if I was Craig there, I would have tried to pot both of those.
Yeah.
I would have tried to pot them, because it's just a problem that you haven't got to go back for.
Yeah.
You know, if that ball was taken away from that corner pocket, look how much easier the finish is.
It is, absolutely, yeah. And now
Okay,
he's got a plan, but now he's going to leave this one over the pocket and have to get back up the table.
Exactly.
Whereas if that ball was gone, it's quite simple to screw up through the gap, isn't it?
Exactly. I think he missed a bit of a trick there,
Yeah.
not potting them both.
It adds a big layer of difficulty now.
I mean, I think he'll still get the finish, you know, but I'm just saying that, you know, he did make it much easier.
Well, there's 7 yellows now in the middle of the table that he's got to navigate, whereas he would have had a simple screw shot through the gap of the 2 yellows.
Yeah.
This could definitely still go wrong. It shouldn't. I mean, I think he can just play this with... oh, he's going up table already, actually, leaving that one till last. Probably rightly so, actually.
Yeah, I think once he'd left that there, this is the right way. And I don't think you try and get too cute with this. I think you just pot it, leave the cue ball on the side rail, and just swing the cue ball round for the black. I think some players do get into difficulty trying to be too clever with the cue ball, and what I mean by that is, you know, trying to get too precise on balls where, you know, let's be honest, you know, see there, as a prime example, he hasn't tried to do anything flash, he's just potted the ball and said, well, I'm going to trust that I'm going to have some shorter shot on the black.
Does he now come like the narrow side, or does he try and get below that yellow?
He's got 2 options. I personally would like to come on the narrow side because I think he guaranteed a shot.
Yeah, and less risk as well.
But he isn't. He's going the other way. And he played it beautifully.
He played it really well, but there is that obviously that element of risk. If he clips the yellow, then could end up in trouble.
Yeah, and just for, you know, the players at home watching that last shot he played there was so much better than it looked, because he had to hit it quite hard and get the cue ball to pull up slowly.
Yeah.
It was almost like you don't decelerate on it, but if you do decelerate, it can be a disaster and you can go behind the yellow. If you get hold of it too much, you can screw into the yellow. So it was a much better shot than it looked at, and quickly gone into a 4-1 lead. And although it is race to 11 on this winner's side, Mick won't be wanting to let him get too much further ahead, because, as I did say at the start, before they started, that Craig Waddingham has got a lot of firepower.
It has been a feature of the series that Mick has gone some way behind it in a lot of matches, and then he just seems to find an extra gear and push on. I thought that in his first round match, he was 4-1 behind, and then he did actually come back. He came back to 5-all, but he ultimately lost that match. But he's done it a number of times through the series. Maybe just a slow starter.
Yeah, he's been around, you know, long enough. He's won enough tournaments and lost in enough tournaments to know that, you know, it happens. Stuff happens, and you know, you're not going to be ahead in every single match. And you have to fight to the end. And
but we know that he's got enough gears that he can still overcome this lead. But he does need mistakes from Craig, and there's one right there.
That was a mistake, because he's stunned straight and off. So that does go down as an unforced error, and as a player, that is sort of your bugbear type thing, that when you do that, you're so annoyed with yourself, because it means that you haven't hit the front ball nowhere near where you meant to hit it, and it does sort of, as pool players, that does sort of annoy you.
Probably not a total disaster. There's balls tied up in both sets. A lot of work here for Mick to do.
Ball in hand, only one shot, but off the break it is ball in hand, and it does have to be behind the line. Every other time a foul is ball in hand anywhere. And all of these balls do go. The one that's touching the black, or almost touching the black, does go into this bottom left corner, and he has got the perfect ball on this top cushion to drop in behind it. So he won't be playing any cannons, because he doesn't need to play any. If you don't need to play a cannon, then you don't play it.
Yeah. Is he looking now at just leaving an angle so he can stun across and take that as his next ball? So leave an angle on the one over the middle, stun across to the right-hand side rail?
No, he's going to play it last, Nick.
Okay.
He's gonna just pop this one, pop the one down the cushion, and pop the other one, and then the one that's on this or close to this top cushion, he'll leave that till second to last, just with an angle to just drift up past it and play the one next to the black last. Now he's come straight. May elect to run through and play the other one into the middle. And you see where he just put his cue? That's showing you where he just wants the cue ball to just run through for that ball. So now he'll make sure that the cue ball is on the top cushion or very close to the top cushion. He may even choose to leave the angle high, as in somewhere near where the yellow is now. Doesn't want to be straight.
I think he is. Well,
no, he's good.
It's just okay.
He's good.
Yeah.
In fact, he's perfect. He's topping it, so he's going to play the black into the right centre. Type of shots you can get a kick on, so you've got to make sure.
Nice clearance from Mick. They were there, but he had to execute the pattern, and he did it exactly. That was when he was stood at the table working out the pattern he wanted to take. That would have been exactly it.
Yeah, and it was a big frame, that 5-1-4-2.
Yeah. Carl Boys leads Gareth Hibbert 3-2. Ronan McCarthy 2-1 up on Liam Dunster. Mark Farnsworth now 3-2 against Tom Cousins. Tom's won 2 in a row there. Scott Gillespie 4-1 against Richard Toomey. And Craig Lakins levelled things at 2 each against Andrew McKee.
And someone on the live chat, RK180, has asked, guys, do pool players at this level enjoy the game, or is it just like a job to them, sort of thing? Well, I can only speak for the way that I feel on it is, and if the minute that I stop enjoying competing and stop enjoying the heat of the battle and enjoy the practice and enjoy everything that goes along with it, then that'll be the time that I finish playing.
I mean, you have to love it.
You have to love it.
It's like any job. If you hate your job, you're not going to be able to put as much effort and passion into it. You have to enjoy what you do. Otherwise, if you hate your job, go find another one. Do you know? It's
yeah.
And pool players, it's not just about turning up and playing a match. They're practicing for hours every day. So you have to be dedicated. And if you're not enjoying it, you can't dedicate your time to it.
Absolutely, and this is what they play for. This is what you spend all the hours practicing for, is matches like this, in arenas like this, in tournaments like this, for this sort of prize money. And if you can't get up and be up for this sort of match, and this doesn't get your juices flowing, then nothing can. And for me personally, when that day comes where I'm not enjoying that anymore, and I feel as though, for whatever the reason may be, if I feel as though I can't compete anymore, or I feel as though I'm not enjoying it for whatever reason, that will be the day that, personally for me, that I put the cue in the case.
In play.
I think he feels as though this passes or can play cushion first off the red into this left corner. That's not what he played. Yeah, I thought he played the last shot because he was going to play the yellow off the cushion off the red, because obviously freeing this left corner for these 2 yellows to go in is a massive advantage. That's what I thought he was going to do. And I'm not quite sure why he didn't play that, to be honest, because it looks on to me.
Phil on Facebook chat asked a question of why don't snooker players compete, and I assume that you mean why haven't snooker players entered this event? Well, I know certainly the top players. A lot of these events would have coincided with the snooker calendar. So, but I know that Mike Day was talking to Dominic Dow, and I think he raised his eyebrows and was quite surprised that we were going to be playing for £51,000 next year. I think as word spreads, why wouldn't it attract some of those
the lesser ranked players?
Yeah, the players that maybe had their career and that they're coming out the other side of it and maybe want to look towards pool.
Yeah, or even the players that, not necessarily have had their career but are not quite earning the money that the top play, the top snooker players, let's be honest, are not really going to be that interested, because they're, for one, earning a lot of money, and two, they're playing a tournament every week now, since Barry Earn took over. I mean, however, what is the 25 tournaments or something, and then the invitation events, so the top 16 players are playing a tournament if they choose to almost every single week. But the other players don't play in obviously all those invitation events, all the 16 invitation events, so those players may elect, like you say, once they see the prize money, may think, well, I might have a go at that. So this is a prime example now where that over that pocket is no good to you. And the reason why these rules are so good, this is the perfect example, is Mick's missed that ball. He was obviously trying to pot it. He's missed it, and he isn't going to gain an advantage from it. Well, providing that Craig Waddingham plays the right shot, he definitely isn't going to gain an advantage from it. Okay, so now it's perfect. Now what he should do is just snick off the red and just pot the yellow, and now that's loss of turn. It's actually a very good shot there from Craig.
Now, after that conversation with yourself yesterday, now he's thinking, now he's seeing
now
it.
He's thinking, now he's
That'll
seeing
be in his mind.
And you see what this has done is that's just saved 20 minutes of tactical frames, and Mick has been punished for making his mistake.
Yeah.
And Craig has been rewarded for his opponent making a mistake, exactly how it should be. That's a prime example of why these rules are so good. And, anyone that doesn't see and understand that.
Yeah. Wow.
Unlucky. Yeah. He obviously had to play that with a lot of bottom and a lot of left-hand side to straighten it up off that cushion. And at the pace he was playing it, had he even made the right contact, the cue ball obviously would have tracked down the table, but I think he just went inside it and went off, which is a bit unlucky. Just
going back to the conversation on snooker players, of course, historically, it probably wouldn't have been attractive to snooker players because they're going to have to work their way through a minefield and pick up a prize of a couple grand or $3,000 or whatever it's been in the last 10 years when it's been in the doldrums. But now there's real money getting pumped into the game, or we're hoping, over the next couple of years this event gains momentum, and there'll be prizes in each one of the 5 events that are attractive to a lot of people, not just snooker players, American pool players, Chinese pool players. It'll be worth their while in travelling as the interest gains momentum. Then so do the sponsorship deals.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. And let's be honest, it's all about the money. If the money is high enough, and it's a proper breakdown, rather than as long as it's a half breakdown, which it should be, and the money is high enough, it will attract players from all different cue sport disciplines, and it will attract some of the top players from everywhere. I mean, the bottom line is, if the prize money is there, the players will come and play, even if it's English 8-ball, if it's American 8-ball, if it's Chinese 8-ball, whatever it is, whatever table, whatever rules. If the money is there and the setup is there, the organisation's there, and the players are enjoying what it is, they will come to play.
I mean, it's proven by this event, isn't it? Carl Morris, Lee Clough, Darren Appleton, they all came back. I mean, some of them have come out of retirement, some of them that have turned their back on the game, it's encouraged Jason Shaw to want to travel over here to play in these events
Nick,
and have a chance at £51,000.
Yeah, and the reason why a lot of these players, as you say, sort of turned their back on the game, and they did, because they weren't happy with a lot of things that were happening at that time. You know, all of the great players of English 8-ball have walked away at one stage or another, and as you say, turn their back on it to go and do something else, you know, pursue another career in another cue sports, whether it be snooker, American pool, or Chinese 8-ball. All of the players, the all-time greats, if you like, who people would class as the all-time greats, at some point have walked away from the game because they were unhappy with either, a number of different things, but mainly because they were unhappy with the people that were in charge, the way things were going, or whatever the reasons were. All of those players walked away at some stage, and like you say, those players are now back. Just a quick one. A lot of people are asking, you know, when I was just using that shot there that Craig played about the rules. So as long as you make contact with your own ball, your mindset of what's a foul and what isn't a foul is just completely different. So as long as you make contact with your own ball first, it is just loss of turn. So your opponent just plays from where the cue ball finishes, and it's just loss of turn.
See, the problem, the reason that many people can't get their head around it is, as I mentioned yesterday, that there's a lot of people who are trying to continually compare this to other rule sets. If you'd only ever seen this rule set, then you wouldn't be able to compare it to other things and say, well, that's actually a foul. It's just keep it
have
as
an
a
open mindset and go, right,
yeah.
This is what's happening now. And the thing that everyone also needs to remember is, they are new rules for English 8-ball, but they're not new 8-ball rules. These are the most recognised set of 8-ball rules that get played anywhere in the world. So everybody that plays 8-ball all over the world, at whatever form of 8-ball it is, whether it's American 8-ball, Chinese 8-ball, whatever it is, they all play these rules or a very close version of them. And they are without doubt the set of rules to take the game forward, in my opinion. And just going back to your question there, Nick, about would players come and would the snooker players come? Well, and I did say, look, it's all about the money, and it is really. And I think one of the things that will back that up is Ronnie went and played in the PTC tournaments in America when it was 500,000 to the winner. That enticed Ronnie to go and play in it. Now, I think that's probably enough said on that if the money is high enough, whatever cue sport it is, because if you've got a money of that sort of, a tournament of that sort of magnitude with that sort of money, it will entice everybody from every cue sport.
It's just an interesting point that Michael Day, who is working tirelessly behind the scenes, doing work on social media, and does a lot for this series, and does a lot for cue sports in general. There are actually 9 world champions in the last 16.
Right. Well, there you go.
So Phil Harrison, Gareth Hibbett, Adam Davis, of course, Craig Waddingham, Mick Hill, Liam Dunster, Tom Cousins, Scott Gillespie. I mean, that's just... It is an embarrassment of riches.
It is. It is.
And had Carl Morris won, there would have been 10.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is.
So there's one of the sponsors of the event, Jason Owen. And as I previously mentioned, if you want to win a Jason Owen cue, go to k8.com, open an account, make a deposit, and you can have a chance of winning a limited edition Jason Owen cue worth £500.
So Dave Orr has said on the live chat, surely pool does not need another set of rules. Dave, you couldn't be more wrong. Pool needs a new set of rules, and it needs getting rid of the other 2 sets of rules that are being played for this game to go where a lot of us have always wanted it to go. That's the main problem.
9-3.
The reason why the game has never really gone anywhere is because of the rule sets. Neither rule sets have been right. They've both had their massive downsides and disadvantages from a marketing point of view.
Of course, Mike Day saying that he also included Appleton and Mr. Comment now, is it Appleton
And American Pool
boys,
World Champions is what he's saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the last one on the rules. It needs these set of rules to take the game forward. It needs, in my opinion, the others scrapping, and these need to be the main set of rules that they play at the professional level. I'm not saying there can't be other tours and there can't be other associations, but they all need to be sort of reading from the same sheet, and then it has a chance of going somewhere. The rules have always been the reason why it's always been restricted, along with obviously a number of other things, but the rules have been a major factor of the reason it has been restricted. Dave said congratulations on a great series. Thanks, Dave, and I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Although the hard work and everything hasn't come from me. It's Lee Kendall, Lee Grout, and these guys here at Beard and Nick and it and everybody else, the refs, everyone else behind the scenes that have made this happen. But they've certainly done a fantastic job, and everyone seems to be enjoying it. And just while we were saying that, Mick has took so far a really good finish out here. He's been quite cute with the cue ball, played a couple of really good positional shots, leaving the correct angle on the balls, and he's left the correct angle on this, just to run down for these three reds. So Jason Craig said Team Europe against China at these rule set would be for money would be very interesting. That's a good point. I think that would be great. And whatever 8-ball discipline was played, I think you're right. I think that would generate a lot of interest and a lot of money.
Interesting that in all of the games in play at the moment, there's only really, I mean, this is the biggest deficit in any of them. There's only really 1 or 2 frames between any of them. Everyone's still in the mix. So referee racks the balls. Craig Waddingham to get frame number 10 underway, leading 6 frames to 3. Another really big frame in the context. Nearly lost the white, but has gone dry. Yeah, this game swings. shot using the back of the yellow and still landing absolutely perfectly.
So a lot of positive comments about the rules, which is good to see. And Colin Hamilton's asked, curious Gareth, do you still have your Wilshire 8-ball cue? Yeah, or did I get rid of it when I changed to Chinese? No, I still have it, Colin. Yeah, I still have a couple of the cues actually. That I still have the old one that I played with, and then there was a bit of wear and tear on that, so I got a new one made. So I've still actually got both of them that I always use from a kid, really.
I assume you still have a knockabout on a Supreme now and again, don't you? I saw you the other day. I think Mark Bohr posted up that you were having a little knock with him.
Yeah, and you know that was the first time I actually had a knock on an English table, probably for a couple of years.
Really?
Yeah, I don't at all, to be honest. But yeah, I was just practicing on the Chinese table, and Mark Boyle was playing, and I went through talking to him and ended up just having a few frames with him. That's all that was. I actually played with my Chinese cue on the English table, which was a little bit strange. But yeah, no, I don't really touch the English table anymore. Now he's at this stick.
Good.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that they love the rule set, and it is one of those where once you've played them and you fully understand how to use them to your advantage, then they are really, really good to play. And just another example here, Craig has another shot that he could play. He could pop this one across the top cushion and screw back, play his yellow that's next to the black onto the red over the pocket, and just get the cue ball stuck to the black.
Yeah, cue ball in behind the black.
Cue ball in behind the black. That's just lost a turn, and Mick has to play from there.
Yeah. It's just about seeing those opportunities, having the clarity of thought, because it's not in your general. Goes to show he's just not seeing it.
He just didn't see that.
Because you're seasoned to it. You've been playing these rules for so many years now. It's just you naturally see them, don't you?
Yeah, just like if for example, this was being played to World Rules, I probably wouldn't spot the shots at World Rules anymore because I haven't played them for so long. And listen, I grew up playing World Rules. I grew up playing World Rules since I was a baby, really.
Yeah.
That's what I won. The world titles at, but I didn't know any difference. That's all I'd ever played, and that was that. But of course, I play these rules now, and that's why I said before, it's a bit easier for me to spot the shots. But yeah, the shot that he definitely missed a bit of a trick there. He could have screwed back, and then the yellow that's next to the black played up onto Mick's red and just screwed the cue ball in behind the black, got his ball over the pocket, and snookered him in the same shot, and he's virtually won the frame. He still has an option now to play that shot, and he should play it. But just like any 8-ball, you do have to think about, I'm going to play this, what's my opponent going to play next shot? So if Craig plays the yellow onto the red, which he will, Mick will then play his red onto the yellow again.
Yeah. Well, has he not got a shot here where he could try and pin him in behind these two yellows as well? No.
Well, he tried to play it as a skill shot, and it was a good effort. That was a good effort. So I've spotted a bit of a shot that Mick's got here, and I'm not sure Mick spotted it, but he has got one. He can play the double on the red, and pot Craig's ball with the cue ball in the same shot, and it's almost a free go at the double. So he plays this double, pots Craig's yellow with the cue ball like that, and it's a free go at it. Great shot.
Yeah, brilliant.
Great shot.
And even if he hadn't got it, what's he left?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I did say at the start of this that Mick doesn't miss too many tricks, and he definitely didn't miss one there. And not only did he play the shot I said, but he played it in a way where he caught the cushion first with the cue ball, so he got the cue ball out of the jaws of the pocket, and that was a great shot.
And Mick Hill showing the wisdom of years of experience.
And I also did say, Nick, that in situations like that, Craig would have to make sure that he's clever. He's the shot again, look. So he plays the double as a two-way shot to pot the ball, so basically like a skill shot. But the only difference with it is if he hadn't have made the double, it would have just still been loss of turn.
Scott Gillespie now opening up a lead. He's 7-3 ahead of Richard Toomey. Mark Farnsworth is 6-3 up on Tom Cousins. Liam Dunster's just gone 4-3 ahead of Ronan McCarthy. Adam Davis and Declan Brennan are 4 each. Carl Boyd's 4-3 up against Gareth Hibbert. And Phil Harrison leads Darren Appleton 5-3. The only other score, Craig Lakin and Andrew McKee, nothing between those two players, 4 apiece.
And I'll go on, Nick. I'll let you do the the Mint promotion spiel.
Yeah, Mint Promotions. These are the official Supreme Pool Series shirts, and you can choose from a number of different colours. You can see the prices on screen. Get hold of Emma at mintpromotion.com. And those shirts really are good. See a lot of the players sporting them. Even Mr. Moulding sat to the right of me and got one on, looking very smart.
Mick just took a toilet break there. Both of them did, but Mick went out first, and Mick looks up for it to me. He looks like, okay, he was 6-2 down. Craig played good. It's been a good standard, but he just looks like he's not going to flap at nothing. Mick, sometimes you watch Mick play and he's sort of pulling his face a little bit, and he interacts with the crowd, and he's letting everyone sort of know whether he's winning or losing. I think he's definitely a much better player when he's not like that, when he's just sort of getting on with it, and not moaning when he's not absolutely perfect. So, and he looks like that to me today. He looks like he's bang up.
He's
for
focused,
it.
yeah.
He was 6-2 down. He didn't look phased. He still looked the same as he did the first frame, and that could be a bit of a worrying sign for Craig, because Mick certainly ain't going to roll over.
The other one very similar to that, of course, Phil Harrison, when he's not gurning at being an inch out of position and so on and so forth. He seems like a much more settled player when he's just focusing on what he's doing.
And of course, no matter how well you hit the break, you're not guaranteed to make one. And just look at that. There's 8 balls past the bulk line.
Yeah, no problems with the 4-point rule there. Tough balls in both sets.
He's got a shot though.
Going for yellows and trying to break everything out.
Go for yellows.
Yeah.
You'll kick into that. And this yellow down here that's sort of in between the 4 reds does go cushion first off the red.
See, now this is a perfect example if we look at world rules. Now Craig's in a dominating position, but Mick could just come in and touch his cue on the ball and you know, leave Craig in a lot of trouble, which is, you know, just an absolutely nothing shot.
Yeah.
And have to make no attempt to get out of the snooker, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I've grown up with world rules and you know, always played them, but there are some. I was talking to Phil Harrison about it last night, and he said, you know, he absolutely loves the rules, but they are quite farcical when you think about them.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. And, you know, I'm the same. You know, I grew up playing world rules, and, you know, every event except one that I played in and that I played in, and all the, you know, the tournaments that I won were all to world rules. But you don't realise until, you know, you do different things and play different rules just how bad the rules are, certainly from a marketing and taking the game forward point of view.
I mean, Phil's had a massive amount of success playing those rules and plying his trade at world rules, so, you know, he would love them, and why not? You know, I mean, it's seen him really well in his career. It's just, and there's another example where Mick's not interested in covering the bag
because it's no good to him.
Yep.
It's no good just putting that over the pocket. So, you know, I said before in these, not that you see too many of these frames, but this is the third one we've seen now, and the other two frames that have been like that, Mick has won them both by playing clever shots. And I did say, you know, I think Craig needs to be a little bit switched on and a little bit sort of clever with what he's doing in this situation, because Mick certainly will be. I think he just needs to, especially the fact that he's openly admitted that he isn't really sure what he's doing at the rules yet. So I think it's one of those where he does need to, that's a terrible shot from Mick. He won't be happy with that one.
No, that's put him in all kinds of bother there, hasn't it?
That's not a good shot he's played there, because he's just basically bumped Craig's bad ball out into the open for him there, and bumped it over to the pocket. Bit unlucky.
Yeah.
A little bit unlucky that he's gone there. He wasn't quite sure exactly where they were going to go, and I wasn't either, but...
And he does have an angle to screw back into it, but he needs to be careful. If he pushes that red along the top cushion, then...
He has two options. He could play your shot and screw back into it, or the ball that's tied up on the top cushion, he could hit it and screw off it and pop the one over the pocket.
Pop the other one, yeah, open things up. Well, he's looking at the... Coming the other way, is he? Playing the plant and screwing back into it that way. Oh no, just...
He doesn't want that in.
No.
Oh, it's a bit smelly now. I think he's through the gap onto... And although this ball over the bottom left corner is over the pocket, it is a bit of a problem, because you can see there he has a window there. Yeah. This is where, when you have, in this situation, sort of 3 balls against the 7, it is a big disadvantage, especially when, you know, Mick will know exactly what he's doing.
Scott Gillespie's now opened up a 5-frame lead over Rich Toomey. It's 8-3.
So the season of a lifetime from Scott Gillespie continues.
Phil Harrison's just won another frame and he's 6-4 up against Darren Appleton. So that dream final, well, dream final from a kind of completion of the series point of view. It won't be a dream final for a lot of people, but to complete the series, the series.
Domination.
Yeah, from the 2 players who have dominated through the series.
Fantastic shot.
Yeah.
Great shot from
Brilliant.
Mick. And it'll tap on the table. Great shot. So as long as he makes contact with his own ball, pots Craig's ball, and it's loss of turn. Now, what could have been a 40-50 minute frame, you see it again, look, plays half ball off it, pots Craig ball exactly as he played it. very, very good shot.
That really is brilliant. I mean, it's
And
played that to perfection.
yeah, and that's no good to him now. You see, Mick's just going to pot his red into this right corner and then just play his other red onto it, and it's just lost a turn.
Yeah.
So now what you've gone, what could have been a 40, 50-minute frame, within, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, this frame's going to be over.
Yeah.
And what's happened is Craig missed his finish and he's been punished. Mick will just play this red onto the yellow. He won't want to pot it. He just wants to leave it over the pocket and... Oh, why has he potted it? Why not just drop it in and leave the white on the side rail?
Yeah.
It's an incredible choice of shot. Well, that's just amazed me that he's played that as a skill shot.
Well, I heard a little sigh as if
he didn't want it in.
He didn't want it. He's played it at that pace to get the white back across, hasn't he, to make the cover. But
playing it at that pace...
He's always likely to fall in after, isn't it?
Yeah, and he always left the shot there for Craig to snick his yellow and pot his red back over the pocket. So he should have just dropped it in. I think he tried to be too clever. Look, he's still going to win the frame unless Craig manages to fluke this somewhere.
Just a bit of a tally-ho here, isn't it? It's just give it a punch and hopefully it finds a pocket somewhere.
Yeah,
but
he hasn't got too many options, has he?
No. Well, he's played it as a controlled shot, tried to maybe double it back into that middle, or was he just perhaps trying to put some covering fire in, do you think?
Yeah, I think he just sort of was resigned that he
Yeah.
couldn't really fluke it anywhere, so he's just tried to maybe keep it in play. Could have gone for the finish, but didn't need to. And the next time he comes to the table, he will be going for the finish, for sure.
This is a tough one to hit, isn't it? The black looms large in the middle of the table.
And you do have to make an attempt. So he knows that.
It's a great attempt.
Wow, what a shot. Very good shot. But as I said, next time he comes to the table, he will be going for the finish.
Yeah.
And within a couple of minutes, this will be 6-5. Mick will pot the one he's closest to. Then he'll play the plant and probably screw up for the one in bulk off the plant. There you go. So he does have to play this shot, I think. He doesn't like it because he's got a bit of an angle, but I think he does have to play it.
Could he play it off the yellow and just bring the yellow away from the pocket?
He's playing for the one in bulk now.
Yeah.
Good shot. A lot of 8-ball is about natural angles and leaving the correct natural angle to get onto your next ball. And if you can leave the natural angle, then that means that you haven't got to do anything with the cue ball other than just pot the ball. So every time you play a positional shot, or most of the time you play a positional shot, you're trying to leave the natural angle. See, all the time here, it's just natural angles. It's just pot the ball, let the cue ball do the work. Even when he played the shot round 3 cushions, he left the natural angle on the one in bulk. And we've had 3 frames that have involved using the rules, and Mick Hill's won all 3 of those frames.
Mark Farnsworth, who probably by his own admission has struggled a little bit, arguably should have lost last night to Jordan Shepherd. Jordan was on a reasonable clearance and broke down and didn't get back to the table. Mark's found a new lease of life this morning. He's currently 8-3 up against Tom Cousins.
Wow. I wonder who picked Tom for the tournament. I think that might have been me, was it?
You can switch to Clint if you want. Oh, no, no.
Yeah.
Scott Gillespie has got an even bigger lead. He's 9-3 up against Richard Toomey. Don't forget the last 16 now is straight knockout. The double elimination ended in the previous round. Liam Dunster 5-4 up against Ronan McCarthy. Declan Brennan 5 each.
12th frame.
Carl Boy's just ahead of Gareth Hibbert at 5-4. And Mick Hill has now just got a 1-frame deficit. Coming back from 6-2, and he breaks in the 12th frame. Sorry, Craig Waddingham breaks in the 12th frame.
So first shot is he'll need to pot the red over the corner pocket, and what he'll need to do is just nudge the yellow with the cue ball. And the reason he needs to do that is because if he nudges the yellow with the cue ball and pushes it down the rail a little bit, this red will pass into the corner then. So he's just coming around to have a look, and I don't think it passes without the nudge. So I think he'll play cushion first with right hand side and just flick the yellow down the cushion a little bit, watch. Well, that's what he tried to do, but he just missed it. Does it still go? I presume it does, the way he's walking around the table. There you can see it does just go. A little flick on the yellow would have obviously made life a lot easier, but it does still go. And I don't expect him to miss that because he can just drop it in. Good shot. And, you know, Nick was saying about, you know, natural angles. If the cue ball was on the bulk line here, it's such an easier shot to screw down for these two balls.
Yep.
As opposed to a little bit hampered, a little bit straight, and now it's not quite as easy. So leaving the correct angle on the balls is important. But played it nice. He'll play the middle red of the three next, I think. And then he could just pop the one down the rail and drift over and pop the... No, he's playing the inside one. Maybe the red goes into the right middle, that's why he's playing this one. He's good at those shots down the rail. I saw a couple that he played yesterday. This red must pass into the right middle. The reason he's gone that way, I mean... He's checking now if it passes into the right corner. For me, if it doesn't go into the right middle, I think he probably should have took the other one, but... He's short, is he? Is he short?
He's okay. Touch short, but...
Touch short. Touch short. Because it's tight.
Yeah.
And when it's tight, you want to be right behind it.
Yeah. But not too much to do with the white.
He's jacking up though, look, you see.
Oh, yeah.
He is short, but he's played it good. He's played it good. Hit that nice. Yeah, and I was going back to, you know, the balls down the rail. He played a few yesterday against Mark Farnsworth, and okay, I know one of them he did miss by a long way and it did go in, but he potted a couple of tough balls down the rails, and one of them he did it really nice that I remember, and it is definitely a strong point of his game because he does strike them nice down the rail, and you can see that he's confident. Because let's be honest, you know, the toughest balls to pot on an English pool table, or probably on any pool table, is the balls down the rails. The title sponsor of this grand final is Home Leisure Direct. They've got a new some new stock in ready for Christmas of pool tables that can be delivered before Christmas, along with a load of other stuff that they do. You can check out their website, homeleisuredirect.com. They're the largest retailer in the UK. They do a load of different products.
Yeah, we've seen Ben Flack in the audience over the last couple of days. Bless me, excuse me. Yeah, Ben, of course, one of the current England internationals, and he also works for Home Leisure Direct. He's been up here watching with interest.
Yeah, Andy, who's the the owner of Home Leisure, along with his wife Michelle, he was due to be up there this weekend. I know he's very disappointed he couldn't come because actually Michelle, his wife, isn't very well, so he's unsure whether he was going to make it up here this weekend. So Ben's sort of come up as the representative of Home Leisure, and.
Just for a second, thought that was going dry, and one of the last balls moving came around and knocked that yellow in.
And I think he'll go yellows, just simply because those two reds in the middle of the table are a bit of a problem.
Yeah, obviously has this yellow just above the black that doesn't go into the bottom right corner, but it does go to left centre, and the ball to the right of it offers the perfect ball to get onto it.
Must be a bit careful here. Just wants to screw across the face of it. See, that's why he's got back up again. Just needs to be a bit careful because he needs to make sure he leaves an angle to get straight on the one down the rail, because as Nick said, it needs to be straight on it so he can pop the last yellow into the left middle. And you see, that's why I said he needs to be careful, because he didn't want too much angle, so he had to screw around the table, so he tried to come across the face of it too much and hit it. See, going back to what I was saying, Nick, about leaving the right angles, he just come a little bit too straight. When he potted the one before, I was surprised he played it so hard, because I thought he would have potted this one that's left next.
Yeah.
And I think if he could have had it back, he would have dropped it in, and then took the one he just potted and screwed down the table.
I mean, it's horrible.
You know what?
He's only got the one down the rail.
Well, this goes. Well, but it's tight.
No.
Ooh, that could be a big turning point in this match. Big turning point. And Mick knows it. Mick knows that was a big error. And when he broke off and saw where those yellows were, he'll be absolutely distraught that he didn't clear there.
Wow. Craig just trying to stun across, and he would have taken a full ball contact on the right hand side of those two reds and left one in the middle. As it is, he's missed them by missed his target by a good few inches, and ended up a bit in no man's land. He's still got one in the middle, but.
And there's no need to, you know, we were saying before, Nick, there's no need to touch balls that don't need to be touched. And both of those, he'll play the cannon now because he has to, because of the angle that he's left, but that both of those pop comfortably into that top left corner. So many players play cannons that you don't need to play.
Played that really well.
He did play it good, and he played the one in the middle good before when he went on and off the top cushion, because he left the perfect angle there.
And for me, that's the difference between, I'm not saying Craig isn't an absolute top level player, but someone as consistent as, say, Phil Harrison, he wouldn't have ever gone for a cannon there. He would have just kept it absolutely as simple as possible.
Yeah, because whenever you're playing a cannon, it can go wrong.
There's risk, yeah.
Yeah, there's risk. But he did get him, and this black for 8-5, and you see how he just stayed down on that black a split second longer, as if to say, I know how important that was, not only to the scoreline, but psychologically.
Yeah. Big frame. Very, very big frame. Three frame lead and 3 required.
And he's now got his 3 frame lead back. I know he did have, I think, 4 at one point at 6-2, but he'll be relieved, and Mick mentally will be really disappointed with that, because he'll know obviously how easy those yellows were when he broke, and obviously it was a great chance to get right back into the match there.
Phil Harrison now 7-4 against Darren Appleton. The scoreline between Carl Boys and Gareth Hibbett might raise a few eyebrows. Carl Boys is 7-4 up on Gareth. I think Gareth went into that one as a substantial favourite, but Carl's been exceptional this weekend. I mean, I think a lot of people write off Carl as being past his absolute best, but clearly not. He's really doing the business this weekend, showing that he's still very, very capable. And remember that 2 of the players in this field would have probably been focusing on the bigger balls, the American version of the game for the last couple of weeks, because they were involved in that Moscone warm-up. So Liam Dunster shading Ronan McCarthy 5 frames to 4. Scott Gillespie's on the hill against Richard Toomey. Andrew McKee's 6-5 up against Craig Lakin.
He played to be able to hit the red that's on the top cushion, the one that's next to yellow, his only problem ball. He played to be able to double that out and screw across and play the plant, but he's just drifted a little bit too far, and just slightly change of plan now.
Extension call.
Oh, Mick's missed another ball. And the reason that he missed that thick was because he was trying to hold the cue ball. Need to play some sort of loss of turn shot, but it's not easy because I can't quite spot the shot yet where he can hide the cue ball. Okay, so the one that's in bulk, the yellow that's out in the open there, he can play onto mix red over the pocket and soft screw the cue ball on top of the other yellow, but then he leaves him this one over the right corner. Maybe potting this one and coming off the side cushion with a lot of pace and trying to smash everything out. That would be like a black ball rules type lash at him, maybe. I think that's what he's playing. There you go. You'd have to say very unlucky to hit that full ball with side, and for it to follow it in, you have to say that's unlucky, because if he snicks the red on the way in, it probably bounces everything out. So you have to say very unlucky to going off. This red is sort of like deep into the jaw, so you just got to be a bit careful that the cue ball doesn't flick the jaw on the way down. I think he's just okay. That's why he's short, because he was worried about the cue ball catching that knuckle. think you can pot this with loads of check sides, so loads of right-hand side, go side rail, top rail, and just straighten the cue ball up and play on the one in bolt next. See this, he's digging down with I think he's just plays with a lot of right-hand side. Just sort of second-guessing himself, but I think he's okay. I think he can play it with loads of right-hand side. There you go, look. Checks the cue. I didn't get the side on. Ooh, he's just okay, but I think he forgot to get a bit of right-hand side on, which would have killed the pace of the cue ball and took it up in a straighter line, but... Oh, he got lucky there. He definitely didn't play inside that. So that's 4 frames where the rules have come into it, or seeing a shot to play to your advantage and the rules have come into it, and all 4 of them Mick's won. 4 out of the 6 actually that he's won. And had Craig have played different shots in, say, 2 of those frames, he may have been sitting on a 10-4 lead. Because he certainly hasn't missed any balls, Craig. Not that I can remember, anyway. Mick's obviously missed a couple, but I don't remember Craig actually missing a pot in open play.
Scott Gillespie's through to the last 8. He'll face the winner of Craig Lakin and Andrew McKee.
And no disrespect, like I said, to that bottom half, but it is a little bit weaker than the top half. And I think Gillespie would have been happy with that draw, Nick, because on paper, if you could have picked a draw from the players that were left in, maybe that would have been the draw that he'd have picked. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, as I say, he's through. He's going to play Lakin on McKee in the next round. And then, well, looking favourite to be Mark Farnsworth, who's 9-5 up. Or maybe Liam Dunster, unless Ronan makes a comeback. He's 6-4 down at the moment. So, whatever happens, it's going to be a tough semi-final for him if he gets that far.
I think Liam Dunster has beaten Ronan a few times.
I noticed the Q score actually shows Scott Gillespie versus Andrew McKee. So that's obviously incorrect, because that game's still ongoing at 6 apiece. Not quite sure why his name's dropped down into that draw. So ignore that if you're looking at qscore.com.
Mick's been desperately unlucky there. He's potted the yellow into the left corner and obviously tried to kick his bad yellow out. He's hit it half ball and he's knocked it into a place where it only really goes into this left middle from where the cue ball is, and he's snookered himself and everything else.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah, a bit unlucky. I can only presume that Mick had used his extension there, because he hit that with probably a second to go. If this red can be potted off the yellow into the middle, then that's a massive bonus for Craig, but can't be potted from there. And answers on the postcard what he tried to play there. Presume he tried to come inside it with run inside and play on the ball up the left cushion, but It's a very bad shot either way.
Don't forget, no total snookers in this rule set, so in getting out of a snooker, you have to hit a cushion.
Oh my God. Well, if Mick can't see the ball over the pocket, that's unbelievable.
That is a touch.
We'll tell by Mick's face if he can, and I can see he's just put his... Oh no, he can see it. Yeah, there you go. You don't need to see the camera angle, you can just have a look at Mick's face, he'll tell you if he can see it or not.
Yeah, he would have definitely had a smile on that face if he couldn't get through to it.
Scott Daniels said the no total snooker rule is a rule that bugs him, so it's a rule that he doesn't like, and I do think he's got a point. I do think there's an option. The Chinese rules, they play the same no total snooker, but I do think there is a case for changing that and making it so it is a total snooker. And the reason why I think there's a case for it is I think there's much more skill involved in when you're snookered. You can work out a shot where, you know, you can maybe play around 2 or 3 cushions and drop onto a ball dead weight, where now it's a little bit more like if you snookered, you've almost got to just lash it because
Yeah.
you know, it's either got to go in or you've got to hit the cushion.
Yeah.
So I sort of do maybe agree with that.
I guess it kind of lends itself to super aggressive open play, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It's another one of those that, you know, no matter what happens, if you get out of a snooker, the chances are you're probably going to open the balls up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think there's fors and against, but I think, you know, there's always options to tweak little rules like that.
Agree.
Down the line.
Yeah. I think Ronan mentioned one yesterday in an interview. He was saying that he was playing an opponent. His opponent broke off. The ball flew off the table, and it left dollies for Ronan. However, his opponent hadn't made the 4-point rule. He'd only made 3 points, so it was a re-rack, and Ronan had ball in hand behind the line with a break.
Okay.
Whereas, so his opponent wasn't really penalised for going off the table, which is a cardinal sin. So
yeah, maybe Ronan should be given the option there whether to carry on or let him
or re-rack.
Or re-rack.
Yeah,
maybe. And like I say, there's little things like that can be.
It's
tweaked.
a learning process,
Yeah,
isn't it? Of course, it was always going to be a learning process.
Yeah.
But and these things are probably things that people just wouldn't have considered. You can't think through every single scenario when you're setting up these rules. So you know, I know the organisers will take on board any feedback, and they'll make the necessary adjustments if they feel it's for the good of the game.
Hit that nice. Hit that nice, and they've come out nice.
Yeah.
Time running.
And yeah, we're feeling very nice because these yellows are unmissable. The one down the rail, he's got a big pocket off the yellow. Not that he needs it because he's very good down the cushion anyway. So he'll go right middle, left middle, one down the rail. So this is couldn't have come out any better, really.
Fairly natural pattern, isn't it?
Yeah, it couldn't be any easier. I think a little bit careless to leave himself straight on the one down the rail. I think if he leaves a slight angle, he can get the cue ball away from the cushion. Clever shot. Clever shot. He purposely played it off the yellow and purposely played the yellow to bounce out to there. And it's a good job it did bounce out to there, because he couldn't do nothing with the cue ball on the one in the middle. That's why I said I thought he might have left an angle, but he played a good shot. And as I said about angles, he might have left a little. No, he can play it with right hand side, can he? Yeah, he could just.
Re-establishes his 2-frame lead.
And he's just nipped out for a toilet break, and that was a big frame. And you have to say Craig's played well in this match. He hasn't, like I said, I don't think he's missed a ball in open play, or maybe only one, I can't really remember, but I think he's probably played a little bit better than Mick. Having said that, I do think that Craig's had the easier finishes. He's had the easier set of balls, but you can only play what's in front of you, and everything that's been in front of him, other than those sort of off-tactical frames that I said, he's took everything that's in front of him.
Don't forget, take your chance to win a Supreme Winner pool table delivered to your door. The only thing you need to know is that you can find that post on the pool Players Pool Events Facebook group, and all the instructions are there for you.
And
that will be drawn out during the final.
And Luke Jewell says unmissable. When I was saying unmissable finish, he's saying unmissable. I'd like to volunteer on proving otherwise. Yeah, what I mean is, you know, for someone of Craig Waddingham's level, it was pretty unmissable.
Talking of unmissable, over on table 11, Carl Boyes is 8-5 ahead against Gareth Hibbert, and he's on a unmissable finish.
17th frame, Mick Hill to break.
To go 9-5 ahead.
Time running.
Big frame this for Mick.
No good.
Bad shot. Bad shot.
You heard the groan from Mick.
And
that
he's left another unmissable finish on yellows, and this one is
That's
maybe
curtains.
even more unmissable than the last one, as long as that is a dead set plant into that right middle. One thing I will say with Mick, as I did say, is although you heard him sigh there as he knew that he'd played and the reason it is such a bad shot is because you're trying to hit the front ball flush, so you're trying to hit the ball full in the face, and there he's almost hit it sort of, well, less, maybe close to quarter ball, because he stunned it, so at least half ball. So obviously it is a bad shot. But one thing I do think, as what Mick does look like, is even though he's obviously played that bad shot there, and he's probably going to be 10-7 down in a few minutes, he still looks like, if the chances come his way, he's capable of taking them.
Yeah, some people you see their
You can just see
head
when
goes
they're done.
down, their shoulders sag, and their body language just tells you that it's over for them. No such thing with Mick. And he looks pretty fit nowadays, doesn't he? He was bigger when he was younger, and he's obviously looks after himself now.
I think when I played him in the World Final 2007 was perhaps when he was at his biggest, and at his pomp, as he calls it. And yeah, I think he was around 18 and a half stone at one point.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure where he'd be at, but he'd probably be around, I don't know, 13 or something.
It does look about 13, yeah. And Carl Boyes did indeed take that frame over on the other table, and he looks like he's playing really well. He's just had another monster break, and looks for the world that he's going to go on the hill at 10-5. Talking about going on the hill, that's where Craig Waddingham is now. He's on the hill against Mick Hill, It's 10 frames to 7. He needs just one more to go through into the last 8 and put the pre-tournament favourite, the 5-2 with the bookies, out of the event. Mark Farnsworth is also through 11-5 against Tom Cousins.
And that's a big win for Mark. Cousins would probably be his bogey player a little bit. So, and it was funny because I was actually sitting at the table when the live draw was coming out, and I was actually sitting with Mark, and it's funny because he actually called it literally after 1 or 2 names had come out. He just said, "I think I'm gonna get Tom." And I think he probably may have done that because, you know, people generally do that subconsciously because you perhaps don't want to draw that player. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously Tom is a great player, and he probably would have been one of the picks that you would probably not have chose.
Yeah. But yeah, super result there
So a great win
for Mark. Liam Dunster edging closer. He's 7-4 against Ronan McCarthy. Adam Davis is 8-5 up against Declan Brennan. Phil Harrison's 8-5 up against Darren Appleton.
That's now 8-6. Nick Appleton's actually just won a frame there, so
Okay.
he's actually holding on to his coattails a little bit there.
And the last one is Craig Lakin against Andrew McKee, 7 each. Now then.
Big difference in the rules here is he can't play the red onto the yellow and then be yellows. So that's a big difference here.
Could he flick off the first yellow?
He could flick off the first yellow, clip the red, and pot the yellow. Yeah, he could play that shot.
Yeah.
So what he's decided to do is go reds and leave the angle on one of the reds in the middle of the table to pot it. May play it now and go into the red full ball and pot the yellow.
So playing a combination shot.
Yeah, playing a skill shot. Just like that.
Lovely. Well controlled as well. Nice controlled pace.
You know what I said, Nick, before about leaving the natural angle? He didn't have to stun it. He didn't have to top it. He didn't have to screw it. He literally just had to pot the ball, and the cue ball would naturally go and play the cannon. And it just makes life so much simpler when you're not having to manipulate the cue ball. You can see this. He just plays it plain ball, pots it into the middle of the pocket, and the white hits the red full ball. It was a good shot, but the shot before to leave that natural angle was the good shot.
Yeah.
Now people on the live chat are saying, look, this game is far from over yet, and I have a feeling this game's far from over yet either, because Mick just looks comfortable. And obviously a comfortable Mick Hill is very dangerous, irrelevant to the score, so on another day you may have, you sort of may have seen him be 10-7 down, or anyone else 10-7 down, and not quite feeling it, but he still looks still looks with it. And he's played a good shot here.
Yeah, you almost feel there's still another twist in this tail.
May have left a smelly little angle here. Might have to stun off the cushion. And the middle pocket comes into play if you stun off the cushion. Said the middle pocket comes into play. Played it nice.
Well then.
And it's mixed break.
Just 2 frames in it, mixed break, and if you can get a break and dish here, the pressure is going to be so much on Craig, breaking at 10-9 for the match. Miles said, like, congratulations on my
career and success at Chinese 8-ball? Were you ever tempted, pre-Chinese, to go for the American 9-ball? Moilsy, to be honest, no, I wasn't. Had the Chinese 8-ball not have come along, then no, I don't think I'd have gone to play American pool. It just doesn't do anything for me. I've never played a single tournament at American pool, whether it be 8-ball or 9-ball or 10-ball, and it's just not really for me. It doesn't really get me sort of juices going, and I'm not sure it massively suits me technically either. I don't know. It's just not really for me. But although obviously the way the Moscone Cup's going nowadays and how big that event is, that's something which I think maybe every player would perhaps would like to go in. Yeah. Maybe I'll have a go in the Moscone Cup. Moscone Cup next year. It was funny. I was actually joking. I think it was with Chris Mallin actually yesterday, and I said to him, he was on about something, and I said, I might have a go in the Moscone Cup next year, Chris. And he said, what do you mean have a go in the Moscone Cup? You have to qualify. And I said, you have to qualify. I said, I thought they were just handing out places these days, given how bad the standard was. You should
have said to him, no, I had a phone call last week inviting me to play in it, but I turned him down. But I said I might do it next year. Knowing how gutted he is not to make the team, I think you're going to love that.
I think I'd definitely get into that American team, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, for sure. And Moilsy, of course, Kev Moores is a massive fan of the Moscone Cup. He'll be down there probably sporting his orange suit and orange shoes next week. You can always see him just sat there in behind the European team, always there in the crowd, ever present at the Moscone Cups, home and away. Kev loves his pool. If you see a man dressed in orange on the TV in the next few days at the Moscone Cup, then you can guarantee that's going to be Kevin Moyles.
And this is like the black. And the reason I say that is because now he's potted it, I expect him to clear. Having said that, he wanted to be on this one he's looking at now into the top right corner. And if he's not on it, it makes the finish a lot harder.
Carl Boys is now on the hill against Gareth Hibbett. Gareth Hibbett broke down on a very makeable clearance, and Carl took advantage, and it's a big uphill battle for Gareth Hibbett now.
I can tell you Appleton is just about to go 8-7 against Phil from 8-5. He's okay. He's okay. He can pot this into the bottom left corner and screw back and hit the red. So just play a little soft screw shot and bump the red out of the way, just like that.
And indeed, I think that's probably going to be curtains for Gareth Hibbett. He's just broken, gone in off, and it's ball in hand for Carl Boys over on table 11, that is, if you want to catch that, what could be the final frame.
You can see Mick's looking there. Sorry, Nick, you see Mick's looking there at that yellow I was talking about, which he tried to get on after he potted the first yellow. And he's got to make sure that he just gets the cue ball in that little pocket there between the black and the red. He's got the perfect ball over the middle, obviously, to do that. And he certainly didn't. Well, he's actually in that little pocket that I spoke about, but I'm surprised that he didn't just check that one in and then just drop the one into the middle and land in that little window I was saying. But because now he's left this one down here, it's sort of like he has to come back for it. So. Needs to get this one right. And what about this for a shot? He's landed dead straight on into the corner. That's a great shot he's played there. Well, he's asking the question of Craig here, and I did say that I fancied him to do this because he still looked quite good to me.
And now the tension will be mounting on Craig Waddingham's shoulders. He would have been praying for some kind of chance in that frame for it not to go to 10-9. He really wouldn't have wanted to get to this point where he's now breaking for the match and just relying on this break. If he makes any mistakes in this break, he might not get back to the table.
Well, he hasn't made any mistakes since being 10-7 ahead. He's just had one break.
Yep.
As happens when a match gets close, more people have started to filter through from watching the other matches. So that adds to the tension and the atmosphere.
Carl Boys is now through. And Gareth Hibbett departs. Adam Davis is 9-6 up against Declan Brennan. The slowest game of the lot is as predicted.
Yeah, that's not a surprise. Adam wouldn't be the quickest.
Yeah. And equally as slow, Liam Dunster, Ronan McCarthy game. Two technical players.
And I can tell you that Appleton is a couple of balls away from levelling the match against Phil Harrison at 8 each.
He just somehow finds a way, doesn't he? He's a born winner.
Big break.
Wow.
Oh, look at the Reds. Yes, he's got one problem, Red, but it does go into the corner, and he could play a cannon first shot onto it if he wanted to. So he could play a cannon on it first shot as almost like a little free go at it. Okay, he's missed the cannon because he flicked the yellow on the way past, but I did say it was a free go, and the reason it's a free go is, as you can see, that it does go into the top corner.
Has to think about the order he takes these three balls at the bottom of the table as well, doesn't he? It's they're kind of crisscrossing each other, so he's going to have to maneuver from one side of the table to the other, or maybe try and leave something in the middle. So would you anticipate he's going to try and take these three now and leave that one adjacent to the middle as his last ball?
No, he's gonna take it next. So he's gonna pop this one into the bottom right corner, and then I think he's gonna take it next and get rid of his bad ball next. You can see there he's just playing a little screw shot. I think he's gonna get on it now, like that. Perfect.
Yeah, he's left a nice angle.
And two options: screw back and leave an angle so he can just bump into the black, or leave it where it's somewhere where it is now, so we can just run through and pot his last ball into the middle.
Yeah. Could almost use that outer two of the two yellows as a bumper and
sure.
Leave it for the middle. Just left it slightly high, hasn't he? So he can just run through onto that yellow.
I'd like to see this because I think he's got a
straight.
horrible angle.
He is. I thought he was just high, but looking at it from there, you can see he's pretty much dead straight.
He's
not
got
quite enough angle there to punch it across and get into the black.
He's got a horrible little angle here. I don't like this.
He had it, so he could just play through the gap. Now,
just drop it in, don't you?
Yeah.
These two options. You can screw off a side cushion, and he is doing. Good shot.
Perfect.
Good shot and good performance and good clearance. You have to say that Craig Waddingham has played a great match there.
Yeah. Little fist pump from Craig, and well, what a great performance by him. It's Mick Hill that we say goodbye to. He's put in a solid performance all the way throughout this series without winning an event, but he's been at the business end every time, showing the class of player he is. But it's Craig Waddingham who goes on into the last 8. his opponent in the next round will be the winner of Adam Davis and Declan Brennan. Phil Harrison currently 8 each, with Darren Appleton, Liam Dunster 8-5 up on Ronan McCarthy, and Craig Lakin 8-7 on Andrew McKee. We're going to get Craig Waddingham in for a few words, but for now, thanks to Gareth Potts, and we'll speak to you all soon from the interview room. Good afternoon. I'm joined by Craig Waddingham and Gareth Potts. Craig, when the draw came out and you get Mick Hill, I mean, there's no easy players to play, but your heart must sink a bit. He's 5 times world champion, and you know you've got to get over a massive line, but you can't have played much better, can you? You can't have put in much of a better performance.
I know, you can say that, but you just play the balls, and you just play the balls anyway. If you get the chances against anybody, you just try and take them. No matter who, he can do nothing if he's sat in his chair.
Of course, yeah.
It's you don't play the player. We try not to, but there's a little bit in the back of your mind that is you playing Mick, but you try and just focus on the table, and if he's at the table, let him do what he wants, and when I'm there, I do my thing. Yeah. Just get the clearances away. Yeah.
And starting from the sort of beginning of the match, obviously you got off to a good start, and you managed to always keep that lead. Obviously you were 6-2 ahead. Big frame, you were 1-0 down, and you potted a ball into the corner that I'm not sure how went in, but you potted a ball into the corner that snicked his red. I actually didn't even notice it in the commentary, and it was the guys on the live chat that said, oh, it's flicked the red on the way through. And had that have not gone in, obviously 2-0 down, it would have been a whole different sort of start to the match.
Yeah, I think, I don't know what's gone in, but I apologise straight away. Obviously I didn't mean to do it, but it's one of them, innit? It's...
Yeah, and as I said, you did obviously get off to a great start, 6-2 up. And you just looked comfortable to me, Mick, but every time you were at the table, you obviously didn't make any mistakes. You didn't make any mistakes in the sense of, I don't think you missed the ball in the whole match, or not the one that I can remember.
No.
Mick missed a couple, and that may have been the difference of the 2 frames at the end. But one thing I want to touch on is we spoke yesterday regarding the rules and your mindset of when you're winning and losing at these rules. There was 4 frames in that match that were a tactical frame, if you like, at these rules. There was 4 frames that the balls went a little bit scrappy. All 4 of those frames, Mick managed to sort of manoeuvre you into a position where he won those frames.
Yeah.
The frames that you won were where you were basically breaking and clearing, or he was breaking and clearing. There was 4 frames in the match where, when it got a little bit scrappy. So do you feel as though you're maybe not quite there with the rules?
Possibly, yeah. I've only just learnt them, so I was looking for you to see where he was to help me, but he was nowhere to be seen.
It's 20% now.
It was a 20% there, wasn't it?
You need to get one of those Phil Harrison. That's not a hearing aid. It's just that, you know, he's just getting advice from his coach.
But you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying that as a negative comment. It's just that when you're playing, obviously at this level, that 1 or 2 frames where you spot that.
I know I played
shot.
one where I potted his and left him snookered.
Yeah.
That was early doors, and he come out of it and potted that.
Yeah, you played a really good one when he missed the ball over the pocket and you flicked off your ball.
Yeah,
and
that's
potted him and
that's the one.
snookered
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
You played a really good one there. But obviously you'll spot these shots as it goes along.
Yeah,
it's a different mindset, isn't it?
The deeper you go, I think the more you get to know the rules, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you're coming up against people who know them as well.
Yeah.
So.
But away from that, fantastic performance, and
Thank you.
You obviously played great. The last time I commentated on the stream against Mark Farnsworth, and it was almost there, another faultless performance again. So you obviously must be feeling confident now. You're in the quarterfinals,
Yeah.
and I always used to approach a tournament of once I got to the quarterfinals.
It starts now, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you can see the winning line, then, can't you? You can see the end of the tournament.
Yeah, I need you to keep commentating my own games if you're there all the time.
I mean, last night you were quite stoic about your chances. Still a long way to go, but now you can almost smell that finishing post. How do you think you're going to handle that?
I just can play one game at a time.
Yeah.
I'm just going to play the next. I don't know who I'm playing, but I'm going to play one game at a time, and if I win, I win. Great, but if I don't, then I don't. But
yeah, you've still had a great tournament. So
yeah,
it's a perfect attitude.
You've got to play one game at a time. You can't look past the opponent you're playing, or else you start lapse of concentration coming, and you're thinking about too much. But nah, one game at a time for me.
Well, Craig, from our perspective, I mean, again, that was, as Gaz said, a flawless performance. I mean, if you keep playing like that, your name could already be on the trophy. So best of luck to you. Yeah, best of luck to you for the rest of the event.
I have to lift that trophy anyway.
Best of luck, Craig.
Cheers, thank you.
Well done, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
So there we are. There's other games still in action. I think the tables 3 and 4. There's probably still games going. We're going to be back with the action with the last 8 as soon as those games end. We'll see you soon.